So thank you, Jens, very much for granting the interview. It has been 3 years since we last met. Can you tell a little bit about the professional developments during the couple of last years?
Well, I lived abroad for a number of years in Spain, and then around 3-4 years ago, I came back to Sweden. And I must say, when I came back, I really found new energy for my writing. I think perhaps it has to do with me being in my hometown, so to speak. I found it a lot harder to write when I was living abroad. When I came back to Stockholm, it was like I saw and understood so much about this city and about what it means to see the small shifts and changes in a city. Things that I didn't notice when I was living abroad, but that I started to notice when I came back. So in those 3.5 or 4 years, I wrote 3 books, which is super fast for being me.
That is fast.
And my latest book, which is called Grand Final, is coming out here in Sweden in a week. And I know it's being sent to the Finnish translation, so it should be out in Finland within a couple of months.
Yes, that is very impressive. I'll ask about the book series a little bit. Have there been any developments in the film and TV area? Are you involved anyway in TV?
Yes, very much so. So I set up 3 years ago my own production company together with the partner. Since we spoke, so we are producing. We have been producing the second season of Snabba Cash for Netflix, and we have produced a film, a TV adaptation of my penultimate book called Paradise City, which is going to be out on Amazon Prime in 4 months. So yeah, we and also I'm working with a lot of TV projects that are not based on my books, but based on other authors or other stories. So I'm not only producing my own stuff, also other people's stories.
That's really interesting and impressive. I don't think many companies can get a deal with Amazon Prime in like with the first or second product. So it's...
No, I mean, the market has really changed, I must say. 3 years ago, all of these companies, Netflix, Amazon Prime, HBO, which has now changed name to Max, and also a number of Swedish streamers, they were screaming for content. They wanted everything. You came to them with an idea and they said yes. Okay. You wrote an idea on a napkin and they said yes. Now it's much, much, much tougher. And just as you point out, it's extremely hard to get them to accept a film or a TV series, because the whole financial situation, I don't know really about this financial stuff, but as far as I understand, it has changed a lot.
Yeah, I understand so too, but still, congratulations. It's a huge achievement and quite a nice diversification from being a single author to sort of like a movie mogul. You just, as you said, you just published the 6th part of the Top Dog series, and it's actually going to be translated in mid-March. The Swedish version is, I think it's going to be this week available.
Yeah, this week. Yeah.
How does it feel like having completed such a long and intensive work and series?
There's really double feelings there. I mean, on one hand, I feel extremely happy and fulfilled that I managed to pull it all together and write 6 books about Teddy and Emily in this series. On the other hand, I must say there's also a feeling of sadness in the way that I'm leaving these characters now. I wrote first 3 books about Ted and Emily. Then I took a pause and wrote Paradise City, which has nothing to do with these characters. It's a totally different story. And then I returned and wrote 3 more books. So if you add it all up, I've been writing about Ted and Emily and the other characters for about 10 years. And almost every day, I've been thinking about these characters. These people have been in my head. So it's really like saying goodbye to some old and close friends. And it's a bit sentimental and yeah.
Yeah, I can't really wait to see what happens to them. I just completed the previous one, The Dead Man Walking, and
yes,
they are getting in lots of trouble because of their
they really are.
Yeah,
They really are.
yeah. You are known well of your authentic style. What made you decide that you want to write about the underworld of Stockholm in the first place?
Well, maybe the underworld chose me rather than me choosing the underworld. Well, in the sense that I was working in the court at that time, and now I'm talking 18 years ago when Snabba Cash Raha Lasa was published.
Yes.
And I was totally immersed in this world. I was meeting these people every day. I was reading the police reports. I was reading the charges in court and all the trials. And I was a part of this, not as an actor myself, but in the secondary stage. And the court is really like a secondary stage for the underworld. That's where all people sooner or later show up, and you see them, you listen to them. So I was in this world every single day. And obviously, from a research point of view, I got a lot of free research. The research was jumping at me. Instead of me having to look things up, things were just coming to me every day. So I guess that's why this is the part of the world I choose to write about. Also because at that time, no one had ever written in Sweden about this world, the underworld, about the criminal gangs and so forth, in a comprehensive way. So I just felt there was a big gap here where something was happening in our society, and no one from the cultural sphere, no one tried to analyze it. No one tried to write about it. No one tried to be creative and describe it. So I guess that's why I chose it. Then now I left that world. 7 years ago, I stopped working as a lawyer. And this means I have to do much more active. I have to be more active and more proactive in the way I make research. I cannot just, lean back and wait for it to come to me. I have to go out, talk to people, call the court and ask for different reports and different trials and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was actually planning to ask that during your book series, the rules of the underworld are changing. There are the old school guys, Teddy, and then there are the newcomers like Ibbe and Kerim, and I was planning to ask that how do you keep up with what's going on in the underworld because it's changing so rapidly.
Yeah. Well, so first of all, the books are fiction. It's not exactly, letter by letter from the real world. It's I more try to point to trends and to a shift, as you're saying. So in Dead Man Walking, and also in this new book, Gran Finale, I try to explore this shift of values where it seems like even the old values, what we can call the thief, the honor of the thief, or the gangster codex, these rules do not apply anymore. It seems like the brutality and the violence have kind of exploded all limits and all boundaries, and things that we couldn't even imagine 5 years ago are now happening in the real Sweden. And I try to depict this in my books as a kind of struggle between the old values and the new lack of values, to put it that way.
Yeah, it has been very impressive. Especially in the Dead Man Walking, I noticed like that you probably covered it also earlier, but now you cover also the life of the very, very wealthy people there. How do you do research on that side?
It's actually harder to make research on the very wealthy because there are no, you cannot listen to a rap song. You cannot call the court and ask for police reports. The wealthy people is tougher to get close to in that sense. Having said that, even also in that sense, Sweden has undergone a big change for the past decade or maybe 2 decades. Actually, a little bit parallel to the change of the underworld and the brutalization of the underworld, which is interesting in itself. So Sweden has moved from being this high-taxed social democratic welfare state into being a low-tax billionaire paradise in many ways, and we have created more billionaires than almost any other country in the world per capita for the past decade. We have a lot of ultra rich people in Sweden. Before, we maybe had 50, 100. Now we have so many, thousands of ultra super rich people. This creates a different dynamic where the ultra rich can set up their own neighborhoods, schools, social clubs, where almost everybody belongs to this stratosphere of very, very rich people. This changes the values of these people. They don't no longer have to confront regular, middle class Swedes. They can move and only socialize in their own circles. And I think this is very interesting what is going on up there in the ultra rich stratosphere. And I think it's very interesting to compare what is going on there to what is going on in the underworld and see if there are maybe some of the values being developed in the underworld and the upper world maybe are the same.
Yeah, yeah. I was about to ask that how would you summarize your key message about the Swedish society? Like you really study that, but is there like a one key message that you would like to say?
I'm afraid it's a little bit too complicated to have one key message, but I think one message definitely is that we need to work together, everybody, to incorporate the two extremes. I think the super rich will have to give up some of their money and influence in order to create a more democratic, even society. And I definitely think the people of the underworld and all the supporters and the people that help them, because you have a large number of serious criminals, but then you have an even larger number of people that help these criminals, people that run money laundering schemes, maybe lawyers, bankers, people working in stores that accept black money, relatives of these people that support them, the mothers and fathers of these people. There are a lot of people that are helpers, so to speak. They need to understand also that you are destroying our society by helping out in this way.
I think you are in a very good position to reach these people. Do you happen to know, are your books read in the underworld? Are they like popular there?
Well, they used to be. I'm afraid nowadays, with the emergence of this little device, that they don't read that much.
Okay, okay, very good.
But I know that the TV series, for example, Snabba Cash, have been immensely popular in these circles.
Okay, very good. I have a couple of more questions. The motives of your characters are very believable and relatable. How do you come up with the motives of the characters?
Well, I don't have a quick fix really, but my ambition is always to create three-dimensional characters that have in them a conflict or many conflicts. Very often they believe they need to do X, Y, and Z, and they want to do X, Y, and Z, but what they really need in order to find harmony in life is something else. So they continue to fool themselves and run towards something that we as readers understand will end up in a big failure or a big bang or a big crash or whatever. And this tension between what they understand about themselves and what we understand about them creates also kind of a multifaceted character.
Yeah, I can totally relate to the way they fool themselves. It's like very tempting. Final question. You describe the sport activities and exercising of your characters in a very compelling way, like Gabriel's rowing or Jossan's running, and then you tell their results very precisely. As you seem to be quite fit yourself, are they actually your results?
Probably better than my results.
Okay.
Probably better than my results.
Okay. So, as a conclusion, can you tell what can we readers expect next after this long series? Do you already have in mind what happens next?
Actually, not. I'm actually really trying to sit down now, and I've been very busy with some TV projects, but now I'm trying to sit down and actually get my head around what I want to do next. And it's not going to be a Teddy Emily book, that's for sure. But I have to find out what I want to do, and I'm in that process right now.
Okay. Thank you, Jens, very much for the interview, and I'm very much looking forward to reading the grand final then.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.